become the man again without these financial debts and obligations.
There's another way of doing it as well, to actually use your birth certificate bond to accept for value anything. And since we're operating in bankruptcy, we're not actually supposed to pay for anything. We're supposed to accept everything for value and send it off. And there's a dude in Canada there that just recently, he accepted for value a loan for $91,000 and he got rid of it within weeks by using the remedy for accepting for value. But as I said, we're only learning about all this stuff at the moment, so we don't know much about the acceptance for value. But like, if you want to write down commercial redemption, Winston Strout, Vic Beck, there's some they will, you'll be able to get a lot more information there, and they're like the godfathers of commercial redemption.
Just one little thing about it, they use fear all the time. You have to eliminate fear from your life. And Stephen King said it best, it's like fear, false evidence appearing real. When they send out these bills and these
legal,
okay, we've been advised about our sisters, they're trying fear to get you contract with them. So, keep that in mind as well.
And what this information, for me anyway, I think this information is some of the most empowering information that I've come across, because it actually puts you in to that position where you can feel that you do have remedy, but the remedy is only there if you're brave enough to stand on your own two feet and claim that remedy,
All governments and state institutions are registered businesses trading for profit. This includes the Government of Ireland, the Garda Síochána, the House of the Oireachtas, Court Services and the Law Society of Ireland. The county councils as well, yeah. When one of these companies is attempting to claim from you or charge you, they do so in a commercial capacity. They can only enforce admiralty law, merchant law statutes on the person or corporate entity. They get you into a contract where you agree or consent to represent strawman, legal fiction, and become liable for its debts and obligations. When you associate yourself with the all caps fiction, you have no rights as a man or a woman. Right, this is where we're getting on to the difference between a peace officer and an enforcement officer. A peace officer, the Garda Síochána, basically translated as guardians of the peace. Garda is a man or woman, the keepers of the peace. They settle disputes between men and women, friendly neighbourhood Garda, more concerned with you and your safety and not generating revenue. They act in a common law jurisdiction, just to basically keep the peace, keep everyone happy and basically looking after us. But they've turned into what we call policy enforcement officers. Garda is a person, Garda agent is a person. Enforces legislation, actively seeks convictions, collects evidence against you to provide prosecution for the state. It's acting from a corporate perspective and not you in your best interest. And they act under statutory law. Now, if you look at the Garda communique, this is a good hint. It actually states that the Garda Síochána police is the word here you're looking for, police Ireland by the consent of the people. So this goes under the keepers of the peace at common law. To enforce any other statute or legislation upon you, they need your consent. And that's a major one. If you look into that, it's on their website, gardasíochána.com. What else was I going to mention as well?
All Garda and police around the world, they have...
Oh, we mentioned the oaths. We haven't mentioned the oaths yet. The Garda Síochána take an oath. The oath they take for office, I think we have a few here lying around. Did you get a few coming in, anyone? Did you get the Garda oaths? Well, basically, the Garda take an oath at common law, and so do judges as well. So, if you interact with a Garda, first thing you do with a judge as well is ask them if do they have an oath of office. When you're asking do they have an oath of office, they're saying they have an oath at common law, and they don't actually have an oath to enforce statute law or any kind of other law apart from common law. So when you go to when you're in front of a judge, you ask the judge if you have you taken an oath, judge, and the judge would go, yeah. The judge has no right to enforce statutory legislation or acts upon you whatsoever. And if he says he doesn't have an oath, This is what they do in England. If the judge says he does not have his oath's not with him today, then the man standing before a judge would go, you must be an imposter. And then they turn to the bailiffs and go, this man does not have lawful authority to practice here. And the bailiffs go, arrest that man. This is what they do in England. There's recordings of this actually on YouTube of them doing this. And the judge basically gets up completely pissed off out of his mind and just leaves the room, and then the defendants are asked to leave the court. It's pretty good. Well, actually, has everyone got one of these now? The guy out? Alright, good.
Interestingly enough, I was at a wedding the other night, and there was a load of Gardaí there, because it was a Guard's wedding, and I said it to them at the end of it. I said, here's your oath, and all of them that I mentioned it to, I never said that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Serious? All of them.
Well, then you can fire
Then, yeah, they don't
You
have
can
to
actually
follow
fire
the
them.
law.
You get their name. You can actually. They've no authority to police.
We all have that power. If they're
Yeah.
acting unlawfully against us, we have the power to strip them of any authority that they have.
And we only need to do this once in England to get the whole garrison to realise how.
And this guy's going to take us out. Like.
No. So we'll just do a quick recap of what we've covered in this, and we're going to show you one or two videos, and then I'll go up to some questions, and we have a bit more practical information to show you as well and go through this. So basically, statutes are created by the government and restrict our freedoms and apply to a legal entity which is known as a person or a straw man, and this was also created by the government. This straw man is represented by our name, usually in all caps, and we were not taught any of this information, so we mistakenly believe that we are the straw man and agree to represent it. This straw man, or company or trade name, was created at birth via our birth cert bond and used as collateral to obtain loans on our behalf. Your rights have been restricted by statutes as the government assume they are representing you. They assume you consent to their rules and regulations because you haven't stated otherwise, and this is key. We're not telling them that we don't agree with what you're doing, so they are allowed to do it by acquiescence or our silence. They're operating on the assumption that it's okay, we're okay with what's going on. So what you can do is you can create your own contract to the government, a self-executing contract, and you outline your understanding of the law, your intent of how you want to live, and then you can claim the rights that you feel you're entitled to. So I'll give you a quick example. You can write a letter to the government and say, it is my understanding that it's completely lawful to smoke cannabis, and it's my intention to possess, cultivate, and use this plant. If you have any problems regarding this, please rebut these claims in 7 to 10 days. And what you're doing is you're putting it to them all completely lawfully. It's my understanding that I have a right to do this. It's my understanding that you only represent me from consent, and if I don't consent, you don't represent me. You put it to them and you let them rebut it. You say, give them 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, whatever you're comfortable with. You're giving them an opportunity to open dialogue. Let's discuss this. They won't respond because they can't respond. You'll also ask them to do it under oath and full commercial liability. So if they were to sign that and say you can't do it, well, then they're just making themselves in a lot of trouble because they've now made a claim against you, put their name on it, and they don't have any lawful standing to make that claim. So you wait your 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, whatever, and then that becomes law. That is now the law.
That is rebutted, it becomes law. If you have to stop all that and stuff.
So these would be the steps for doing your notice of understanding.
Yeah, that's once you put your notice out in the public, into the public, that means the public are knows. So you can use the internet, you can use anything, you can put it in a newspaper, you can do anything. And if people can't get back to you within the time that it actually stands in the public, and people they haven't put a claim against you, so you're sorted. Basically, it becomes law until someone can actually rebut it in some kind of lawful claim. Right. Breaking free. Maxim. An unrebutted affidavit stands as truth. Construct a notice of understanding, intent to claim right. Include a fee schedule. The fee schedule is what gets people a lot. Kev, you've put a fee schedule now on the T-shirt for was it €250,000 a week? Yeah. If it's claimed goes unnoticed.
I have a process going on with the fluoride in the water. I wrote them original letter seeking clarification and saying that my understanding of it is causing me distress because what the implication it has on our health.